live for the first time in weeks. Hallelujah. I forget to do this. I'm so good at what I do. I'm totally a professional. Good morning. It is earlier than I usually get up, which is a good thing. I've barely had any sleep last night. Rent is due today, and I have to work all day. It is a fantastic day today. Um, and it legitimately is. I'm going to put my phone up so I'm not looking at it the entire time. It legitimately is. I have had what I want to call some sort of, I don't want to call it an epiphany. How about a realization over the past few weeks? And the best way I can describe, as long as you're not getting distracted by my nasty farmer's tan, uh, the best way I can describe this realization that I've had is that I, for lack of a better term, have not been living a really good life. Now that sounds wrong, but let me explain. Because I've lived a great life, I just haven't been living it good for me. Um, my circumstances have been awesome. Uh, Growing up has been great, but I was always living life trying to be something else, be someone else, be somebody that I'm not. I didn't really realize it until recently, and that's kind of embarrassing to say, considering I'm 25 years old now. Um, but that's kind of the thing I was doing, and it's been, like I've said, kind of embarrassing and a little bit of a epiphany or realization I've had in the past week or so that has been fun to fiddle around with in my brain. And hopefully, as I talk about this more, I'll make more sense, since I'm just kind of doing this off the top of my head, since it was something I was so excited to talk about last night that I barely got any sleep, because I was just excited and I just stayed up. Um, I guess the best way to start with about, well, maybe not the best, but the way I'll start with about part of having this realization is that um shoot, where did my train of thought? I literally stayed up so late last night thinking about all of this, and I had plans about what I was going to say and what order my train of thought was going to go in, and now that I'm live, I can't remember. um okay, to start with, it seems wrong to say that, oh hey, I'm here and I've lived this great life and I've been living a lie. And it seems wrong to say that, and it is wrong to say that, but it's not wrong. I've been living a life lying to myself, to the people around me, um because I've been trying to be something that I'm not. I've been trying to be other people, and that is something that I'm starting to realize just isn't sustainable over a super long period of time or anything like that. It has worn me down mentally, and I didn't even realize what was happening. It wasn't until one of my brothers, I was talking to him, and he kind of pointed it out to me. And it still took me like 2 to 3 weeks after he pointed it out to realize exactly what he was talking about. And let me try to break it down for you. Is like, growing up, we all have people we try to mold ourselves after, which is not a bad thing. And if it works for you, it works for you. But like, I was always trying to live up to slash be like the people around me in my life. Um, for instance, like um, a pretty easy one to point out to people, a pretty easy one to start with is one one to be like my dad. Um, but my dad is a graduate of William and Mary Law School, and I'm haven't had, except for the last like 2 semesters I was at college, I hadn't had the same degree for more than 1 semester, and I failed twice. Um, I dropped out of college twice before that. Um, I couldn't be like my mom either. My mom is amazing. My dad is amazing. My mom is amazing. She raised me and all my brothers, and she went back to college and graduated recently and has done all these amazing things with her lives. But I just, with her life, I need to speak English first. But I can't quite wrap my mind around how she did that or how I can do it. And I can't be like my older brothers either. One of them's in grad school, and one of them's a software designer now. And as hard as I try, I can't be like any of those people, even though they're the closest to me and they're the people I grew up with, and I've evolved, or not evolved. I was kind of reading my shirt a little bit. I've modeled myself after. I've started to have this realization that, like, even though those are the people that have shaped and influenced my life a ton, I've been trying to live like them, but that's been necessarily the wrong thing for me, because I'm not them. And it's been a really interesting realization. And I've decided recently that, or come to this conclusion recently, that I don't need to be them. I don't need to be someone else. I need to be me. And I need to be myself. As I phrased it in the title, I need to be unapologetically me. Unapologetically myself. And maybe if there weren't so many shows already titled that, I would change the name of this show to that. This little podcast series, whatever you want to call it. I need to be myself. I don't live in the best life situation right now. Like I said at the beginning, I barely got any sleep last night. My rent is due today. I have to work all day today to pay it. But I'm going to do it. And it's not going to be that bad. What were my other thoughts that I was going to explain with part of this? I should really start writing stuff down at least the night before I do these little shows. Just so I can have some bullet points in front of me. I used to think I was great off the cuff, but now I'm seeing that that's probably not exactly the case. What were other bullet points I had? But that doesn't. Okay, yeah. So I have to do all those things with my life today and stuff like that. But that doesn't really matter because, you know what? Today is a great day. Today is a day full of opportunities that I will randomly run into, and I get to see if I make the choices of what I think is best for me. I get to start living my life for what I think is good for me instead of what I think other people would do in my position, that I want to be like. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's almost a liberating feeling. Some people would attribute to, and it kind of did start with this thought, some people would attribute it with the uh, why not attitude. That's what one of my brothers, when I was talking to them, proposed to me was this is like, well, this is your life situation. What do you want to do? And I was like, well, and he was like, he was asking me, he was like, what's a goal you have in your life? What's a goal you have so that you can kind of steer yourself along a more correct path, maybe not correct path, but a more solid path, and figure out what you're doing and stuff like that. And I was like, well, this is all honesty. Like, I just want to drive fancy cars. Like, it's that simple. I love cars. I like fancy cars. Like, I just want to drive fancy cars. It doesn't necessarily mean the most top of the line end sports car or anything like that. It'd be cool, but like something nicer than my Mazda, you know? Like, which is a great car, but I really like fancy cars. So at some point I'd like to drive something nicer than what I've got now. And my brother was just like, "All right, why not? Why shouldn't you do that?" I was like, "Oh, well, like, this, that, and the other thing, and and you know, not necessarily the most financially smart decision, and he was like, "Well, again, you sound like you got some job opportunities going for you. If you lock down a stable income, like, working into your budget, why not?" I was like, yeah, it's starting to sound appealing now. Like, I, yeah. I was like, but we never. I was like, we never did that as a family. Like, we were always our parents were always very smart, very frugal, very careful about their budget and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, I'm not telling you not to do that. He's like, I'm not telling you to be irresponsible. I'm just saying, like, where you are in life, you want to be somewhere else. So plan around that so you can be in that position. You can still be responsible about it. You just have to work in a different angle. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Why didn't I think of that before? Like, why can't I do the things I want to do? Why can't I make the plans that I want to make and still be responsible about it, still be smart about it, still be, still be goal oriented, all these buzzwords that people use in their motivational speeches and it's like, why shouldn't I be the thing I want to be? Why shouldn't I be able to do that? Why should my dream cars, a dream car I want to own, just be a dream? Why should it just be a dream in my life that at some point I want to have beachfront, well, maybe not beachfront, but close to beachfront property? Like, I have some sort of beach house that I can live in or visit or take my family to. Like, why are those dreams, and why do so many people have dreams like that and then relegate themselves to thinking like that's about all I can do? It's just a dream. Why is it just a dream? Why is it not what can be reality? And people, oh, well, you say that, but like, it'd just be irresponsible to do stuff like that and forget about what I'm doing now, and throw myself off track, and again, like my brother said, I'm not saying to be irresponsible about all this stuff, but like, why not? Why should it only be a dream? And that has like struck this huge freaking brain spark in me, and I don't know why it took me so long to have this realization. But like, what's the easiest way I can describe this? Somebody much smarter and wiser and with more life experience than me once said, and I'm sort of modifying what he said, but said talked about that in life, two things can happen. We can either influence our situations, or we can be influenced by our situation. And sometimes it is inevitable that, whatever choices you made, you have to suffer the consequence. Well, it doesn't matter. It is inevitable. Whenever you make a choice, you have to suffer the consequences of your action, whether it's good or it's bad. I know whenever we hear suffer the consequences, we automatically think it's bad, it's horrible, but that's not necessarily true. Because if you make a decision that's, helps you improve in school or helps you improve in your business, you're suffering a great consequence to your actions. Um, but we're here and we have the ability to change what we do and the world around us for either the better or the worse. And we can either choose to, influence our situations or to be influenced by our situations. And so, why aren't we, or why haven't I been because this is something personally, this is something for me personally that I think is this massive brain spark that probably a lot of people have already come to this conclusion. But why haven't I personally been making decisions today that will influence my situation down the road so that those dreams don't have to be dreams? I can own the cars I want. I can own, I can live in the nice places that I want to live. I can go visit the beach whenever I want to, that sort of thing. I can live life the way I want to, unapologetically me. I can spend my time, training and getting ready to try to compete in high level strongman events, which I have been really far out of practice because of my two reasons. My injury is I'm always going to put up first, but also I've been really lazy about it because I got injured. Yikes. But like, why did I think that these were all bad things to want to do? Because ultimately they're not. In the grand scheme of things like that aren't. Now, there are decisions you can make that are irresponsible, that are bad, and that you shouldn't. Like, you should still be thinking about this. But you shouldn't let somebody else's views on life or somebody else's structure of life necessarily take over everything you do. Again, like, I'm, for some weird reason, having this realization at 25, but like, as much as I love my parents, I'm not them. As much as I look up to my older brothers, I'm also not them as well. Close friends I've had that have influenced me, their lives are vastly different from mine because we're not the same people. And that's okay. That's a good thing. That's what we're supposed to be. That's what humans are. We are vastly different. There's a reason that no two human beings have the same DNA. Like, we're vastly different. Even identical twins, like, are vastly different beings. And that's a great thing. That's an amazing thing. That's the reason so many things have happened and so many inventions have happened and also so many bad things have happened. But that's the reason this world is the way it is because humans are so different from each other. And that's a beautiful thing. And if that's such a beautiful thing, why have I been sitting around this whole time trying to be the same as everybody else? It sounds ridiculous and it sounds dumb when I phrase it that way, but that's the easiest way I can describe it to you. What were some other thoughts that I had on this subject last night when I couldn't sleep? It just literally felt like energy running through my body, and there was no way it was the pre-workout I took yesterday because I had taken that because it was some weak sauce pre-workout and I'd taken it 6-7 hours before I went to bed, so like maybe 8. So like, it was definitely out of my system at that point. What are some other good ways to think about this phrase? What are other thoughts I had? Oh yes, talking about the future. There's this line from this show I've watched recently. As a matter of fact, I watched it twice recently because the last season came out pretty recently. So I've watched the last season twice so far because I enjoyed it so much. Um, and there's a decent amount of like philosophical discussion slash debate in the show and stuff, and it's really intrigued me because most of it happens in between, let's say, the villains of the show slash anti-heroes and stuff like that, but the guys that aren't necessarily the good guys, but they tend to have all these philosophical discussions, and at the end of the season, one of them is talking, and he says like that's how they get us. They convince us that there is no future. There is only an eternal now, and the best we can do is survive until dawn and repeat the process every single day. And repeat that process every single day. And sometimes that's what life feels like. It feels like the only thing that matters is the now and what's happening, and only now matters, and we just have to do what we're doing every single day and hope for the best, and we're just not sure. Oh, by the way, that line was from Castlevania. So, interestingly, wise wisdom coming from a cartoon show about a video game about killing vampires. He goes on to say afterwards, because I can't remember the whole thing off the top of my head, but he goes on to say afterwards, he's like, recently I've discovered that I enjoy living, and I want to keep living, and I want to build something, and I want to start right here. And that's like, I heard that line and I was like, wow, that is deeply philosophical and awesome and cool from a cartoon show about a video game based off a video game about killing vampires. But it's true. It's like, we need to start, and me specifically, this is what I've realized, is I need to start living my life instead of just running through the motions. Don't ask me why it took that to kind of crack through my skull the whole point of what people have been trying to tell me for years. But that was apparently what just triggered it in my brain, because that's how I work. I don't know. You don't ask me, because I'm still trying to figure out how my brain works myself. But need to start living life. We need to start living life, not just running through the motions, and we need to start building something. We need to, whatever it is. And I'm not saying like, oh, you break the system, bro. You gotta drop out of college, and you gotta, tear the government down and foot it. No. Okay? You still need to be smart. You still need to be responsible. If you are doing, if you're in college and you're on that track and you're doing good and it's what you want to do, stick with it. Like, it's a good thing. But, like, stop trying to have the attitude of, like, oh, those are just my dreams and they'll never happen. Do what you need to do today to influence your life situation so that down the road, whatever it is, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, unfortunately, it takes some time for a lot of this crap to happen. So down the road, your situation can be a reality. Your dreams can be a reality. What What was one of the last things I wanted to say? Oh yes, I can't believe I really forgot that. Not to sound preachy or anything like this to you, but I'm going to quote a scripture I remember off the top of my head. I don't remember the reference. All I remember is that it says this. All it says is, let me make sure I get this right. All it says is, Adam fell that men might be, and men are that they might have joy. Okay? Men are that they might have joy. That's why we are here. Okay? There's a few other reasons about why we're here, but like that's a whole nother philosophical and spiritual and religious discussion for later. But for now, we'll stick with that. We're meant to do something, to create, to be full of life and have joy. And that, for me, that hasn't been my life recently, to have all that stuff. I'm happy and stuff, but like I'm not doing anything to live. For lack of a better term, I know you might be tired of hearing all the people say it on Instagram and stuff like that, but to live life to its fullest, to enjoy what I have, the situation around me, the people around me, and to live life the best I can. I am so sick and tired of seeing, and I've realized this in the past couple of days. I'm so sick and tired of seeing all this crap across social media of everybody's just like, man, don't you know how it sucks when this happens, or like you do this and you feel bad, or like that feeling when, one of the ones that's been floating around the fitness community recently is videos of dudes like doing squats or deadlifts and like missing the weight, and they're like, that feeling when you can't hit a weight that you've hit before, or that like you usually hit, and it's like depressing music and crap, and I'm like, I'm so tired of that now. Because like, yeah, we've all been there, but like if you just sit around and wallow in it, like what's the point? You're just making yourself feel bad for your own sake, and that's not a good reason to do that. Like, the only person you're making sad is you, and you're trying to make others join in your misery. Like, stop it. Life is not supposed to be like that. Life is meant to be enjoyed to its fullest. You're supposed to do something. You're supposed to create or build or lead or just something positive in this world to change it in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's just for one person. Like, that's still what life is meant to be. And most of us, I would say the vast majority of people in this world, have that ability because their circle of influence is a lot bigger than they think it is. They meet tons of people every single day, or they have a consistent amount of people that they talk to every single day, but that still listen to them, that still pay attention to them, that still heed their advice and stuff. And like, I'll go back to like a really old analogy or whatever. It's like, what you do in your life, the actions you make, is like throwing a little pebble into a pond or a lake. Is like, it doesn't seem like much. And honestly, if the lake was like a sentient being, it probably wouldn't care. It'd be like somebody hitting you with like a tiny little balled up piece of paper, like that big or something like that. Just it wouldn't really hurt. You might notice it. You might not. I've been shot in the back with a paintball gun before and not noticed it because my clothes were baggy and I didn't really feel the impact. Like, that's the only reason. If I was wearing a shirt like this, I definitely would have felt it. So I was wearing like baggy flannel shirt when that happened. But like, you may notice it and you may not. And like, honestly, if the lake was a sentient being and you threw a pebble in it, it probably wouldn't care. But that rock makes ripples, and those ripples go for quite a while. And that's what happens. You have a ripple effect with your actions and your discussions with people. And sometimes it goes for quite a while. And I'm realizing this in my life, how recently I've started to realize how I've actually influenced a couple people, and I think that's the strangest thing in the world, because I barely know what I'm doing with my life. How on earth am I influencing somebody else's decisions? That doesn't seem like a good thing. Um, but it's what happens, and we need to use that influence to have a positive effect for change on the world. Me personally, again, like the title of this thing, I want to start living my life unapologetically as myself, as me, the way I want to. I want to be able to drive the cars I want to. I want to be able to, go visit the people I want to travel where I want to play the games that I want to work the hours that I want to have the computer that I want to sleep in the bed I want to have at some point the family that I want to have, to be able to compete in the sports that I want to compete in, to be as strong as I want to be, which is probably some weird far off fantasy that I really need to nail down, before I give myself a really bad case of body dysmorphia, as if that hasn't already happened. Woohoo, gym time, yay. Uh, I want to be able to do those things without being, a menace to society. I want to be able to do those things, to play the music that I want to learn the instruments I want to. I want that to be my life, or is my life to be dominated by the things that I want to do. I understand that that's not always going to be the case, and that there are going to be some things that I don't want to do that I'm going to have to do, or are thrown into my life situation because of the consequences of my actions, or because of the consequences of the actions of people around me that I'm involved with. But for the most part, I want it to be on the positive trend. Isn't that what they say for pretty much everything? You want it to be on the, nothing's going to be perfect, but you want it to be mostly on the upside. And you know what? If playing competitive Overwatch has taught me anything in the amount of hours I've wasted on it, it's that a 51 win percent ratio is enough to get you into Diamond, which is one of the higher ranks that I'm still proud I got into, even if no one on Twitch really cares that I even got into that rank. I don't care. I did something that I thought was cool. I also did it when I first got injured, and I literally couldn't do anything else because I had to sit around on my butt all day because my leg didn't work. But a 51% win rating is still a positive and can still get you far. Dumb life lessons I've learned from playing video games. All right. Those are the things I want to do, and I want to help other people realize that about their lives as well, is that it doesn't have to be a checklist of things that other people want you to do, or expectations that other people have for you. It's okay to have those, but you need to have something for yourself. Most of it needs to be for you. And that's how I want to steer my life. I want to change my life. So, once again, I barely got any sleep. I have to work all day today. Rent is due. It's a beautiful day. I can't be more excited to actually start living my life for me. And as part of that, I am going to be doing more of this show because this is something I enjoy and this is something I want to do. So for now, I'm going to shoot for starting this week, even though it's Tuesday already. I meant to do this yesterday, but I couldn't really think of anything. But starting this week, I want to do this show at least 3 times a week. Probably something around a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. Hopefully I can stick to a schedule. Hopefully I can come up with things to talk about. I like to talk. I should be able to find some stuff to talk about. But I want to do more of this because it is something I really enjoy doing and something I want to take further. Because this is for me. This is something I want to do for me. I think it's fun and I want to see where it goes. Not just the Twitch streaming part because I've been doing that for a while. This is a totally different aspect. Shoot, I didn't change the name. This still has the title of my last Twitch stream. I think it says Raid Night and Destiny 2 underneath it. Oh my gosh. One day I'll be a professional about this. But today is not that day. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll be getting more of these out soon. At least I'll try to at least get 2 more out this week. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, probably Friday. I'll let you know if you enjoyed what you're hearing. Give me a follow, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on a podcast app and you somehow manage to stay for the entire time, leave a review, a rating and a review. It always helps so that I can start to grow my tiny little pet project. But yeah, that's all I have for today. I don't even have outro music this time. But until next time.